Phase 1. Rebel Alchemy. The only way to deal with an unfree world is to become so absolutely free that your very existence is an act of rebellion. Albert Camus. What if ascension isn't what you've been told and misunderstanding it is the fastest way to lose your ground? Here, we examine what it requires and who you shouldn't listen to along the way. Chapter 1. Where rebellion begins. Talk of ascendance or higher vibration fills bookshelves and sound bites, but the truth is sharper than most will admit. As seers before now have warned, the world is rising, yes, but through fire. Despite the noise, the chaos, and the illusion of regression, we are being pulled, sometimes dragged, into a higher state of awareness. Slowly, painfully, the frequency is shifting. It's not optional. For ascendance isn't a trend, it's a revolt. A rising frequency is tearing through illusion, not tiptoeing around it. The world is shifting, even if most are too programmed to see it. Despite the fear, despite the grip of control systems, consciousness is rising. Not politely, not quietly, instead with fire. You are either riding the wave or getting dragged under. I didn't write this book to play nice with the old paradigm. Ascendance isn't a soft glow or a spiritual daydream. It's a full-blown uprising of consciousness. We are ascending, yes, but not the way most imagine. It's messy. It's uncomfortable. It rips through illusion like wildfire. Despite the propaganda, despite the control structures clinging for dear life, the vibration of this planet is rising. I've seen it, I've lived it, and I'm here to help you ride the current. What does ascendancy actually mean? And why should it matter to you now, in this moment? Because in a high vibrational state of existence, you stop begging the world to give you what you already have. You start radiating what's real. That changes everything. You become the frequency that rewrites your reality. You draw in what aligns, and you repel what doesn't. People either rise to meet you or fall away without a fight. You're no longer hustling uphill towards some external success model. You're doing what sets your soul on fire because you're finally in tune with your purpose, not the program. You wake up charged, not dragging through obligation, but pulled towards something luminous, something yours. As you walk this new path, something wild happens. You start breaking other people free just by being who you are. This isn't about being happy. That's the candy coating they sell you. This is about liberation from the lies, from the conditioning, from the quiet soul death that comes from playing small in a world that trained you to forget who you are. When you start vibrating at a higher frequency, darkness can't stick. The static clears. You don't have to fight the low energy anymore. It just falls off. Your soul family starts showing up, one by one, like they've been waiting for you to wake up. The fake connections dissolve. The real ones root. You feel the connection between all things, not as a soft, preachy slogan, but as a pulsing, undeniable truth. You become the kind of human being who stands tall without stepping on others, who sets boundaries without guilt, who uplifts without depleting yourself. You don't need validation because you've claimed your own knowing. You no longer need to forgive because you've transmuted it all into thankfulness. Even the pain, even the detours, especially those. Your body gets the memo too, shedding stress, softening, strengthening. You glow. But not because you're trying, because you're living true. Family becomes sacred again, not because they match your expectations, but because you let go of needing them to. You're open, grateful, present. Money, that shows up when you're aligned. You don't chase, you magnetize. Source, the infinite force, the creator, Yahweh, God, Goddess, call him or her what you will, starts flowing through your life like a glowing river. You meet it with clarity, not clutching. Love? Absolutely. You love yourself. You love others. If your sacred partner is meant for you, he or she will appear. If not, you've outgrown what was. Then you'll walk forward, alone but not lonely, until your match meets you in the mirror. Sacred union begins within. Everything else flows from that. Joy stops being an accident. It becomes your default setting. You find yourself smiling in moments that used to flatten you. You witness the beauty in absurd places. You laugh louder. You love bigger. You stop apologizing for being awake in a world still half asleep. You start to realize this was never out of reach. You were just taught to look the other way. Rebellion starts here. There are countless books and courses that claim to show you how to bring more light, power, and purpose into your life. Many of them are beautiful. Even so, let's be honest, many are buried in workbooks, mantras, mystified language, or 12-step processes that take years to master if you make it that far. This book is different. There are no gates to pass, no gurus to impress, no certification to hang on your wall. Instead, what I offer you here are real-world strategies, some downloaded from realms beyond this one, others born through sheer necessity in the heat of life. They're methods that I've actually lived, often without even knowing they were methods at the time. What turned everything around for me wasn't some epic ritual. It was often a simple mind flip, a shift in perception so potent it cracked the false ceiling wide open. These tools didn't come to me alone. I thank my incredible spirit guides, and I thank Jane Donovan, my bold, brilliant interviewer and co-conspirator in this quest for truth. Jane has a knack for pulling the gold out of a passing sentence. You'll hear her voice throughout this book, chiming in just when you need a mirror, a nudge, or a dose of straight-up clarity. She's the one who often stopped me mid-story with, "Wait, stop. There, darling. That is surprisingly unique. Don't you realize how unusual that is?" I apologize for my bad Australian accent. So, here we are. This book isn't just a guide. It is a spotlight on the truths that have been buried and the power you forgot you had. Choose your frequency. Looking back, I can tell you, this entire journey begins with a choice. Not a dramatic one, not a ritual, just a quiet, internal yes. A decision you may never say out loud. Yet make no mistake, it is a threshold. The problem is, most people think they've made this choice when they haven't. They speak the words, wear the shirts, light the candles, but deep down they're still plugged into the very system they claim to reject. The choice I'm talking about is this. Will you align yourself with the light, truly, wholly, no turning back? Because the alternative is not neutral. The dark path isn't always gothic or obviously evil. It's subtle. It's the slow hypnosis of conformity. It's the boxed-in thinking that keeps you working for systems that drain you. It's the obedient body in the doctor's office trusting pills over intuition. It's blind faith in politicians, dogma, or scripted history. It's the belief that you are small, powerless, or broken. This is the trap of the Matrix, what the Wachowski brothers, Sophia Stewart, Alex Collier, David Icke, and others have named in different ways. It's the veil, the simulation, the invisible fence that feeds off your disempowerment and calls it normal. Most people don't even realize they're living in it. Conditioning makes them stagnant. Fear of change keeps them frozen. Eventually, as Plato warned, we begin to love our chains. A radical shift. Choosing the light doesn't mean moral superiority or spiritual bypassing. It means full spectrum alignment with the real, with source, with truth, with the infinite creative intelligence that pulses through everything. It means opting into a code that is both ancient and revolutionary. Never stop becoming who you are. Check. Never stop shedding the lies you were sold. Check. Never stop raising others up as you rise. Check. Never stop seeking truth, even when it burns. Check. Never stop doing the work, even when it's quiet. Check. If you feel that in your bones, then you've already chosen ascension. You just haven't claimed it fully yet. Ascension is not some esoteric ladder to the stars. It's a radical shift in how you see, feel, live, and walk in this world. It begins inside, and then it rewrites your external life at warp speed. At first, the changes trickle. Then they rush. Soon, you won't remember what it felt like to be stuck, drained, unseen, or small, because those were illusions. Now, you're authoring your reality, not surviving, not waiting, creating. You're about to turn your world right side up. Trust me, it's going to feel like rebellion. Are you ready? The inner mirror. How do we flip our inner world 180 degrees when it feels like we've been living upside down for decades? What do we do with the triggers, the traumas, and the hidden conditioning that keeps hijacking our joy? Let's start with that ancient truth bomb from Socrates. The unexamined life is not worth living. He said that before being sentenced to death for teaching the youth to think for themselves. No, this isn't a cute self-help slogan. It is the cornerstone of your liberation. Self-examination is not a phase. It's not a weekend workshop or a healing retreat in Bali. It is a way of being, a frequency, a lens you never take off. The longer you live this way, the clearer it gets, and you can undo almost anything. That trigger? Track it back to the emotional root. That pain in your body? Follow it to the unresolved energy it's holding. That fake smile you wear in front of certain people? Ask why. What are you hiding? What are you afraid of? This is how the real healing begins, not by pretending, not by bypassing. Instead, by relentlessly choosing truth over comfort. Because if you don't, you get runaway ego, chronic illness, false stories that calcify into identity. You get trapped in a character that was never the real you to begin with. Self-examination is how we become authentic. Without authenticity, there is no power. Let's talk about gurus, experts, authors, including me, and yes, I see the irony. If you ever start believing your message is bigger, better, or more sacred than someone else's, prepare to be humbled. This universe has a very specific way of correcting ego inflation. It's not subtle. Right now, we're in a planetary wave where spirit is choosing to work through many people, not just the flashy ones, not just the verified ones. You may be one of them. You may be the very frequency the world is waiting for. No one's going to hand you a microphone. You've got to claim your voice. Here's what you need to know. All channeled information, all insights, all teachings are filtered through the ego of the receiver. No matter how clear the message, it's still coming through a human vessel, shaped by biases, beliefs, and personal wounds. That's why I'll always say this. Don't just take my word for it. Learn to do it yourself. Because when the wisdom comes from your own higher knowing, it is unshakable. It doesn't need a platform or a cult following. It just is. The raw you, no filters. Living an examined life means you interrogate everything. Your habits, your reactions, your fears, your beliefs. You don't get to coast on autopilot anymore. You don't get to hide behind trauma, condition. You don't get to hide behind trauma, conditioning, or the idea that this is just who I am. Because here's the hard truth. Most of what you think is you isn't actually you. It's programming. It's defense mechanisms. It's survival patterns passed down through generations or etched into your nervous system by early experiences. It's ego dressing itself up as personality. Authenticity is what remains when you strip all that away. It asks hard questions, such as, what in my actions or thoughts is rooted in fear? What am I doing to be liked instead of to be true? Where am I lying, either to myself or others, just to avoid discomfort? There are people who lie all day, every day, not because they're malicious, but because it's easier. It keeps them in control. It helps them maintain the story they've sold themselves about who they are. The thing is, you aren't here for that. You're here for truth, integrity, and realness. You're here to live a life so cleanly aligned with who you really are that the lies burn off on contact. That includes the lie that you need external validation to matter. Thank you for listening to this excerpt. In the next chapter, we look at the fastest way to shift your state when life refuses to cooperate.